Hello, my name is Nicole Romero Spina, and this is my assignment number 4. Okay, so to start off, I have my 3 arrays down here. My first array is just my ghost array. I have 4 ghosts, and I just put them all in this array to make it easier to coordinate different procedures or actions that I want the ghost to do. I also have a bone pile array, which same as the ghost array. I have a certain I have one procedure that is 4 bone piles, and I kind of want all of them to do it at the same time. So it was easier to make an array for this. And then my last array is a decimal number array, and it's called sizes. And this is used in my code when I have a raven resized to the various different numbers in this array. Okay, so my first procedure is called switch positions. At one point in my scene, the ghosts turn invisible, and then they move around and kind of switch positions with each other, and that's why I used the markers. So I have three. I have 6 parameters. 3 of them are ghosts, and then the other 3 are markers because I'm getting 3 ghosts to switch with each other. And I used markers because I figured it was easier to mark the position where I wanted the ghost to be. And then after they have switched positions, they turn visible again, and then there's a slight delay just so you can notice that they did switch, and so that they don't disappear right away. And then for move and scream, this is when the raven is like haunting kind of, or scaring the ghosts in the scene, and it's moving around in circles above them. It moves a random amount so that it can be closer to a different ghost each time. And it calls the function that I created called who is closest, which I will explain in a second. And basically, wherever the raven turns in a circle as seen by the cauldron, which is in the center on the ground, that's how I'm gonna get it to turn in circles. And then whoever is closest screams it's closest to me, and then moves away from the cauldron, but really this like trying to get away from the raven, so they're not closest anymore. So the function I just mentioned, basically what I did is I I made it return whoever is closest to the raven by saying if ghost number one's distance to the raven is less than ghost number two's distance from the raven, ghost number three's distance from the raven, and ghost number four distance from the raven, then return this ghost as the closest one, and I repeated that for the rest of the ghosts. Similarly, for my second function, which is called taller of the bunch, at a point in my code, I have certain creatures resized, and then whoever is the tallest, that is the object or creature that is returned. I use parameters because I didn't want it to be just a ghost or just a witch, and also so I could, if I wanted to change it later in the code, then I could just use the parameters to switch the objects. Whereas this one, I knew I wanted it to be ghosts. Okay, I have a procedure called float for the ghosts, and it uses a while loop right here, and it says while true is true because I want them to float through the duration of the scene. And basically what this procedure has them do is kind of just float up and down like you would expect a ghost to do. And it uses a random number to ensure that it's not like coordinated, but it's just random. And ghosts aren't completely real, but this is what you would expect them to move like. And then my last procedure that I created is called move randomly, and this one is for bone piles. Um, and basically, there's a part where my teen person is like getting scared by all the things happening in the background, and this is one of them. The bones start moving by themselves, and it's supposed to be scary. Also, just additionally, I wanted to point out that for my ghost procedure, the float one, I only wanted it to start once the scene started. Um, I didn't want to call it in the my first method because if I tried doing that, and what happened is that since it's on like an infinite loop, none of the code that I wrote after that would play. So I put it in the scene activation listener in the initialize event listers, and then I just made it. I just called this procedure as soon as the code started. All right, so my second, I went over my functions and my procedures, my arrays, and I went over one of my while loops. The second one of my while loops is down here. So as I mentioned, the raven is moving in a circle in the air, and the ghosts are being scared and moving away from each other. And I wanted this to continue for a while, but not forever. So what I did is that while ghost 3, the ghosts are moving around, moving away from each other from the center, while ghost 3's distance to ghost 2 is less than 7, then they can keep repeating the procedure. Otherwise, I want them to stop because I don't want this code to go on forever. And yeah, now I will play my project. All right, thank you so much.